And we're back on Vegas Pulse. Stories from back of the house. You know what back of the house is, right, Doug?
Sure.
That's the people you never see. The ones that are the stagehands, the wardrobe people. Just about everybody that works at back. The ushers, back of the house, bartenders, stuff like that. Cooks. That's where the real action took place in the casino business.
So in Las Vegas in the 70s, the mob ruled.
The mob ruled. There's a story. I don't know if the sheriff was in the mob, and I doubt that, but everybody looked the other way because at that point, it was good for business. They ran the hotels, and a lot of people think better than they do now. But they also were involved in these other clubs, in the strip joints and in the discotheques. And actually, later on in years, the strip joints and the discotheques kind of merged together into a separate entity like Sapphires, which is the largest strip club, I think, in the world, square footage-wise. But they were everywhere, and they ran hotels and nightclubs and restaurants using a simple formula. Have great customer service, pass out a lot of comps, have affordable food, and keep the odds low.
So
which we're able to do by manipulating the machines.
So what was it like working for the mob or working with the mob?
Well, I worked with them. I wasn't in the mob. Let me say that anymore anyway. Let me say that. I wasn't in the mob. But yet the clients were. And one that comes to mind most is someone we already spoke about, Ronnie Vallone, who was the boss at it was the same building as Billy Jack's, but now it was called Bogies. It's the same building. That used to be the Alpine Village, by the way, before it became Billy Jack's. They moved over to Paradise, and now they're gone. That was a great restaurant.
That was.
So one of the stories that we talked about is that I would go get paid. We had a pretty good ad budget, and it was weekly we'd pick up money. But at 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's when Ronnie was there. That's when he worked. That's when the club was rolling. Those clubs really didn't get rolling until about 11 o'clock at night. We didn't go out till 11 o'clock. No one went out at 9 o'clock. We went out at 11 o'clock because that's when the action began. And they'd go to 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. A lot of guys would swing by at 5 in the morning and pick up the stragglers who didn't find the guy that night. And so I would collect the money that was owed to my company. At the time, it was about $4,000 a week. Of course, we had to pay stations with that money. I didn't get to keep it all. But we got paid in a very interesting way. As we sat at the table to get paid, Ronnie would have a stack of hundreds, and we'd count them off to me for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another 100 would go to the house. Well, he was the house. And did it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one over here. 1, 2, 3. So I came up short about $500 because he kept that for the house. That's just one of the many stories that took place over there. There was a lot of drugs involved in those joints in the day. Let's go a little bit fast forward to the brewery. At the brewery, and also at hotels, the valet guys were the go-to guys. They were the guys that would take care of business. There's a story about down in Laughlin when I was there that the public relations guy of the Colorado Bell had a nice Corvette, and he would find what he wanted under his seat after he had the valet park it. The valet people were taking care of business. In the movie Casino, Sharon Stone says she says that they took care of her, and there's a scene where she's slipping the valet guys a $100 bill. That's the way it was. They knew everything. If I wanted to know what was going on in a hotel or in a nightclub, discotheque, or a strip joint, talk to the valet guys. They knew everything. They see everybody coming and going. And when I was running hotels, they would tip me off to things that might happen to keep it legit. By the time I'm running hotels, everything was legit. The mob was no longer involved. I worked for Bill Bennett at Circus, and again for his family at the Sahara. And before that, over at the Greek Isles, formerly the Debbie Reynolds Hotel. And that was a guy from Chicago. And I'm sure that he was connected well as well.
One of the things that I really liked what you told me was the Ralph Lamb story about getting your license.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that story right after we take a commercial break. We're talking with Doug Jablin, filmmaker, documentary maker, and he's talking to me about the discotheques in the 70s. When we come back, I'll tell you a story about former Sheriff Ralph Lamb. We'll be right back.